One of the biggest conversations in the Kratom community right now is helping people understand the difference between natural Kratom and 7-OH. We've actually spent the last 2 years on this live stream encouraging open discussion and consumer education around that distinction. Welcome to the Kratom Gals. You're here for a awesome weekly roundtable discussion where everyday Kratom consumers come together to talk openly about advocacy, legislation, media coverage, personal experiences, and the issues affecting this community. Today, we'll be reacting to the latest Kratom news stories making headlines around the country. And let me tell you, there's a lot of them that are happening right now. We'll also be joined by Deborah from Tennessee to talk about the upcoming ban and criminalization of Kratom in her state. Now, to be clear, we're not here advocating for the use of 7-OH, even though some people have heard otherwise. What we do believe in is open conversation, informed consumers, and allowing people with different lived experiences to be heard without shame or misinformation. I'm Madeline Sklar, host of the Kratom Gals, the Kratom Stories podcast, and the Kratom Real Talk community. Now, if you're here watching us live or you're watching the replay, jump into the chat because we love hearing from you. Your voice matters in this conversation too. And if this kind of real, unfiltered talk resonates with you, take a moment to hit the like and subscribe button. It's the best way to help more people find us here on YouTube. Now, a quick but important note before we dive in. This live stream is for educational purposes only. None of us here are medical professionals, and nothing shared here should be taken as medical advice. We're here sharing personal experiences and advocating for responsible legal access to Kratom. And as always, do your own research. All right, let's bring up the Kratom Gals. We have a full house today. Hey, everybody. Good to see y'all. Happy
Hi,
Saturday.
everybody.
Happy
I'm from,
Saturday.
I love Saturday.
I do too. I just love having these conversations and just, sharing information, our own experiences, talking about the news stories, the hearings, because there's no way for one person to stay on top of it all. It takes a tribe. It takes a group of us to learn from each other and help each other understand what's happening.
It takes a
And it's good to
community.
decompress, too.
Yes, exactly. There's just so much to take in, and there's never a lack of it. There's always so much information going on. So yeah, we're here to discuss it. Sarah Pitta is not able to join us today. She might pop in the chat, but we've got like our rotating group of gals coming in each week. Some are regular, some are special guests. Today we got Deb Chesney here with us from Tennessee as a guest. She's usually in the live chat with us, but we are so excited you're taking the time, Deb, because you're in a state that has recently banned and criminalized Kratom.
Yeah, so it was a real blow. We're all devastated here. I I don't know what we're going to do. I hope that my husband and I travel, and I hope we just stay on the road because at this point I'm not willing to be a criminal again. I've already been down that road once in my early life, and I don't think I would do well in jail or prison. Um, so I'm just hoping that we can stay gone as much as possible because I don't want any trouble here. And
Yeah.
it certainly has made me want to move.
I would imagine a lot of people, when this happens, like it happened in Louisiana last year, it would be interesting to know the stats, like how many people picked up and moved that are Kratom consumers because of that. And with Tennessee, how many people are going to pack up and leave because that's a scary prospect. You're using a plant to change your life. Yeah. And now your state government says, no, you can't have it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't think that I can get back into pain management. I'm not really willing to take all the drugs that they want me to take besides opiates. Like I don't want to be on antidepressants and I don't want a spinal cord stimulator. and I don't want injections. I've been through all of that before, and I'm not going through it again. I won't. So I was so delighted when I found natural leaf kratom. Um, but Tennessee lawmakers, we went to the committee meetings. We spoke with representatives and senators for the state of Tennessee. Personally, I walked up and down those halls for days, and some of them were open, but most generally they were all very they were all set. They had their minds made up, and they did not want to hear any alternative solutions.
And there was like a lot of y'all out there talking to these representatives. It wasn't like just you and a few, like it was quite a few people that have gone multiple times like you did.
Yes. So I really don't know what to do at this point. I'm kind of at a loss. The only thing I can say for me is I hope we travel a lot now. And that's too bad because my mom and my family, they all live here. My mom's in her 80s, and I'm going to have to miss a lot of time with her because I can't. It's either that or go back to bed. And I really don't want to do that.
That's existing. That's what I called what I did. I was existing. I was just there in bed constantly. So I could sympathize with that. I wouldn't want to go back to that either.
You know, my doctor, he's been very kind, but I know that with the new regulations, it's going to be harder to get opiate treatment. So I don't know. I can't take ibuprofen and Tylenol anymore because I ruined my gut with it. So
well, and even if you could take it, that's not enough.
it's not, no. But I do want to say something. I want to say this, and I know there's a lot of controversy around it, but for me and as far as I'm concerned, and as far as because I know what the lawmakers were thinking, and they wanted all kratom banned because of 708, because they're seeing too much craziness revolving around 708, and I just feel like they're two different things. They're entirely two different things. It's like poppies and H. It's it's two different things. So they shouldn't even be in the same conversation, in my opinion. I'm sorry, and I don't want to offend anyone, but
no, that's the thing. We all agree with this, even though there's one person who says otherwise in the community. We know that 708 has caused a lot of issues. Why was it so easily put on the market? Why was it put in gas station? We've talked about this so many times here. We keep trying to educate people. They're two different things. We're not telling people to go use it. We're trying to tell people they're not the same. It's a real shame that this has been on the market for several years and that policymakers around the country either don't understand because nobody is telling them what the difference is. And I thought that's the job of the lobbyists to be doing on our behalf, or like what you're saying, the scenario you're saying. And like it got so bad with nobody doing anything about it that the lawmakers are like, we ought to just ban it all because it's such a mess. This one thing is such a mess.
Yeah. Well, Tennessee that's what their attitude was, that they're like, well, it's too hard to I got a gnat flying all over in my face, but the lawmakers were like, it's too hard to differentiate between the two. We don't have the resources and the money to send law enforcement around to these stores to make sure that they're not selling 7-OH and they are selling natural leaf kratom, and we don't have the money or the resources to test for different things. So their whole solution was to ban it all, and which is going to create a black market. It will.
Oh yeah.
So where do they get the resources now to house all these criminals, you know, because that's going to cost a heck of a lot more than it would to go in and make a gas station either pay the fines on carrying the product, but like one person per year for the entire stint of a jail, like a jail stint is like double, you know, like I know California at the time when I checked it was almost $75,000 per one inmate for 1 year. So I can only imagine what it is per inmate now in Tennessee, and then how much it would have been for them to actually just enforce, you know, the KCPA and make people get rid of it.
$35,000 per inmate. But when you go to prison, you can get farmed out to work for different companies, and the companies pay. They still make money because they're not paying insurance or you know, Social Security or anything. They can pay the inmate 50 cents an hour, and the prison makes the rest. So I mean, it does benefit the state for people to go to prison. They are not losing money, not unless a prisoner cannot work. But you know, I've been through all that. I made 50 cents an hour when I was in prison, and they were paying the state $5 an hour for me. So that's how they recoup their losses.
Yeah.
So but I don't know where they're going to get the manpower to you know, make sure it's not ever coming into the state. So unless you get caught with like you're driving with it or something, they're not going to go house to house and search people, I don't think. I mean, that would be
They wouldn't have the resources for that.
No, they don't.
Now, did Tennessee make it, did they make it a misdemeanor or did they make it a felony?
It's the highest misdemeanor to possess, to knowingly possess even natural leaf kratom. It's the highest misdemeanor. So you can go up to 11 months and some days in county jail and pay a huge fine. If you get caught manufacturing or selling, or I would assume transporting it, it is the same as if you were transporting heroin, you know, that H word or
yeah. So Schedule 1.
Schedule 1, yes.
Yeah.
And that's extremely serious. It's too risky
for a plant that does not impair you. I mean, it's sad that our lobbyists and you know, legislation have absolutely zero clue what they're banning. You know, they hear that it's, you know, when it comes to 7-OH, and this one, it always gets me because they said the same thing about, you know, plain leaf kratom years ago that, oh, it's stronger than morphine. Well, and I always say if it takes my pain away better than morphine, great, but it doesn't do any cognitive impairment like any sort of pharmaceutical does to somebody. So I think that's where a lot of people are thinking, oh, it's stronger than morphine. They're thinking, you know, people are getting completely annihilated off of, you know, either plain leaf and or, you know, extracts and or 7-O, you know.
The thing is, you're always going to have the chronic pain patients, like most of us or many of us or all of us, so many of us here, that we're taking therapeutic amounts of anything and everything that we consume. And Extreme made a great comment a few minutes ago that there's a niche group of consumers that are benefiting from responsible low dose 7-OH, and they're the severe chronic pain people. But, you know, for us that suffer from severe chronic pain, we're always like not cared for. You know, we're the ones left out in the cold. They took away the opiates from many of us, definitely from me, like it's for our own good, even though I never abused them. I never had any issues.
But we're still judged as being drug addicts. We're addict. We're just
addict. We are looked at all the time.
Had absolutely that issue, we're still the addict, not them anymore, or whatever. And it shouldn't even be a them and an us and a we. It should just be we're people in pain with conditions, and we're trying to do the best we can for ourselves with whatever is available. That's not making us a criminal as of yet. you know. But we've heard all this over and over about, once it was about kratom, then it was heavy on the extracts years ago, and now 7.0 is the blame. So
Yeah, well, with the
you
Kratom
know,
Gals, this show that we've been doing every Saturday for 2.5 years, before 70H came along, every week, like what we normally do, watch these news stories. I got a whole bunch to show y'all. I mean, if I hadn't lost my YouTube channel last year, I would be pulling up. I don't have the copies. I would be pulling these up and reminding everybody that everything was about the extracts constantly. It was called gas station heroin. Every news story.
And now the extracts are 100% A-OK.
Nobody talks about them anymore. But when
they were talked about at Champs.
Oh, I'm sure. So
Yep.
when we watch these news stories, all you have to do is, when they say 70H, just old school meaning a few years ago, they would say extracts. That was all we watched here, was demonizing extracts, but doing the same thing in the news stories, showing powdered kratom, natural kratom, but calling extracts gas station heroin. You know, I mean, it's just.
And before that, they called kratom gas station heroin.
Right.
mm-hmm.
So, it's always something.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we all know they're studying the alkaloids to turn into a pharmaceutical as I read, to help the opioid epidemic and chronic pain patients. So I'm sitting here going, okay, this is what they're doing. They're going to take it away from us responsible users so they can have the control over it. And I'm baffled. And then we're going to have all these people that are like, oh, look at this wonderful new thing that just came about. And we're going to be sitting here scratching our heads going, didn't we just talk about all the plant and all its alkaloids till we were all blue in the face, saying, hey, like, this is why we're talking about it, like, wake up. Don't let big pharma control what we have control over right now, because everybody here who knows that has been a chronic pain patient will never be able to be properly taken care of by their doctors. It's not the doctor's fault. It is the way that the regulation is right now with the world, with the opioids. They cannot prescribe you. They can't prescribe me what I need for pain medication. So I was bedridden, and now it's like I've got my little nibbles of 70H, and I use my plain leaf kratom 98.999% of the time. Like, I use my 70H very sparingly. I use my MIT extracts every day though, because that's what it takes for my morning dose to get going every day. But then it's back to the plain leaf, and I can stop it weeks at a time. I don't take the 70H every single day or every week. And I think a lot of people just disregard when someone says that, because all they are like, oh, junkie and gas station heroin, because that's the narrative that's just been shoved in their head. And it's just sad. It's sad to see right now that, everything is just being so negatively spoken about. But the second it gets ripped away from all of us, all these people that were so against this gas station heroin, so-called, is now going to be praising it because it's helping people like us who had been preaching about it. So I'm just kind of baffled at how the world as a whole isn't waking up to the manipulation that's going on everywhere with everything in the world, because, between plant medicine and everything else, like, we've got the right and left, however you want to look at it. And, people pick the sides that way. If that's how you're going to look at politics, stop for a minute. Look at this, because this all comes back to politics. It's all coming back to politics, and it's all coming back to the mighty dollar for big pharma. So hopefully, the world starts waking up to what really is going around, and not trying to demonize us who are really fighting hard just to live every single day as pain-free as possible.
You're absolutely right.
Because I'm in pain all day, every day.
Me too.
How I gauge the pain is like, today I'm out of bed. I'll probably be back in bed for a couple of hours, but I have things later on tonight to go do. And it's just, I'm going to have to, pace myself, and I'll probably have to take my little nibble later on because I'm going out and, I can't bring in powder into a club.
Yeah. It's a weird. I don't know what that's. I'm trying to.
Hello?
I don't know where that.
I can't hear anyone. Hold on.
Yeah, I don't know where
Hello?
that sounds. I don't think she can hear us.
Can you hear us now?
Something's wrong.
Yeah, I'm gonna take her out. I think, yeah, it's coming from her. She should be able to just come right back in. She's definitely having issues coming in on her phone. I was like, where's that coming from? That was loud.
Yeah, I
and
find
random.
phones tend to be really hard, like
It
on
can
the
cause-
background noise. Cause I know anytime I use my headset and I'm driving, people are like, oh, are you on your headset in your car? And I'm like, oh, hold on, let me take it off.
Yeah, it definitely can, I'm always on a computer. It's definitely, I'm able to control it better. Hold on, she's coming back in. Let me get her back on here. Okay, you're back, Deborah. We were getting some weird, crazy background noise real loud, I think. And we could hear you. You couldn't hear us.
Hello?
Can you hear us? Hello? Uh-oh, she can't hear us. She definitely have an issue. Hello? Do you have a headset on, Deb? I think she needs to take the headset off. Can you hear us? Hello? Yeah, it's not working for her. If you're using like a Bluetooth on the phone, that can really mess it up too. So that's probably what's happening, because it looks like she's using a headset of some sort. Y'all are definitely chiming in with your thoughts on this. Definitely regulate. I think that's the way to go too. Regulate this stuff. Really, so much of, I think personally, the fault, so much of the blame is the 7-OH manufacturers that just kept escalating these really potent products that just were off the charts. Like, I just couldn't believe every couple of months it would be the stronger and stronger and strong. And like, why is nobody doing anything about this? We all
And
knew.
the names. Oh, the names.
Oh yeah, dopium, perks. Stop. People need to
Roxy's.
stop demonizing the chronic pain patient who is using therapeutic doses of it and comparing some of our discussions to fentanyl, street fentanyl. Like, okay, really? Okay, give me a break. Seriously, like, why are there these bad actors and nobody's doing anything about it? But let's point the finger at the wrong group of people. Like, what are you trying to take the heat off of? Like what? Why are you doing that? Is my question, right? Because it's
part of what scares me is, while we've been so busy fighting over Kratom 7.0 extracts, now we have a drug coming into our country, metronidine. I can't say the name, but it is so much stronger that it takes a minimum of 2 to 3 Narcans, and even then sometimes does not work. And they're cutting it with street drugs.
wow.
Why aren't we focusing on these things, folks? Leave the plain leaf plants, the natural botanicals alone. Because like I said, that one scares me. And one of our reservations made a public service announcement about it. That's how bad it is here. And I'm in the middle of BFE, Montana.
Angela, we see your comments. I see them on here. Yeah, and Venus makes a great comment. If I was a store owner, it would catch my attention with those names. Yet they sell them because they're greedy and they want the money, because they know people will buy them. Because who's buying the really strong ones? Let's be honest.
Addicts. People looking for a high.
And I'm not here to demonize that group.
People that want to get high.
If that's what they want, go for it. But
absolutely.
Leave us alone.
Live and let live.
Well, I mean,
I got to throw that in every week. Live and
as
let live.
someone who works for a vendor who has powders and or tablets that are in higher doses, I mean, everything that we have, it's like, we say to weigh it out, like weigh out the powder, you break your tablet into so many. That's how it's supposed to be done. These ones that are literally just going and taking, however many milligram tablet at a time, like I personally, when I take my 7-OH, I take 35 milligrams. It's one tablet. It could be scored into 4 pieces because that's how it comes, but that's what works for me. I also take 7.5 grams of Kratom plus a little mint extract on top of it, almost every dose, because that's what controls my pain. I could take it 1 time a day. or I could take it 3 times a day. Like right now, my pain levels have been very manageable with both plain leaf and 7, but I know that the people that the people that my boss goes and purchases this stuff from, they're not putting the stuff. That's where is the stuff? That's what I want to know. Where is this stuff coming from? That's like the Roxy's. Who are these suppliers? Because as someone who works in the industry, we're not seeing that coming from the responsible people that are doing it, just like they're doing the mint extracts, they're doing the, proper compliance while they're, making whatever you want to call it, doing these extracts. So I'm personally going to start doing a deeper dive and finding out who's doing Roxy's, who's doing this, because we're not seeing that with some of the big 70H suppliers that supply, the vendors that are properly doing it. So I'm kind of interested to see where it's all coming from, like what the supply. I see Madeline over there typing. I knew she would be doing something, but it's like, I want to know where these all are coming from, because this isn't being put out by all 70H suppliers. So again, they get lumped into the one thing, and it's hard. So I don't know. I mean, there was 7H in product years ago.
When you're doing that research, Amanda, make sure that you include who's doing the white labeling on it and the packaging.
Okay.
Because I think that would be interesting to see too.
Yeah. I hope Deb is able to, I don't know what's going on. But let's get some videos, because we do have a lot of videos to look at and talk about. There's never a lack of them. But actually, I want to do a shout out to the film that changed my life and got me to learn about Kratom, which was A Leaf of Faith. I know a lot of y'all here are familiar. It's a film that came out in 2000, and I think it came out in late 2018. It was on Netflix, and I saw it in my Netflix feed early 2019, because that's when I lost access to pain management after 9 years, being a stable patient, taking my meds, following all the directions, but doctors are scared. And my doctor, like, to frame it, like, my doctor used to tell me I was one of his model patients, because I followed all the rules, I worked, I did all the things, and that just made me this ideal patient. And he did all the things to, to stay in check. I mean, you always have to take a urine test every time. You always have to do all the things, right? So that if they get audited, they stay out of trouble. But it's not enough. Doctors are scared, and I get it. And he was young. So, it can disrupt your future, especially when you hear about doctors being sent to prison in some states for prescribing like what we were being prescribed. And it's scary. So I couldn't find any other doctors to take over. And I just happened to see this documentary pop up in my feed called A Leaf of Faith. And I'm like, this looks interesting. And I watched it, and I'm like, I'm going to go buy this Kratom stuff and see. I don't think a plant's going to work, and I want to play the trailer, because if anybody's not familiar with this, you've got to see this film. It's on YouTube. It's free. Just go to YouTube, type in A Leaf of Faith, Leaf, L-E-A-F, A Leaf of Faith. I'll play the trailer for those that aren't familiar with it. But because of Kratom, these last 7 years, and I've used it every single day, multiple times a day, I take about 5-ish grams every 6 hours. That's what works for me. Everybody's different, but that's, for me personally, that's what works. And I'm not suffering in massive pain. I'm able to have a life and do things. Now, when I was in pain management, I've been living with degenerative disc disease for 20 years. So it's something that I've had a long time, and it just gets progressively worse. And in pain management, I couldn't been down. Like I even with all the meds, and we're talking Oxycontin, Percocets, the whole thing, gabapentin. I don't want to hear any more stories on the news about how bad gabapentin is. What is it, like after how many days or weeks you're going to get dementia? It's like, oh my God, I was taking the maximum amount for years every day. So like,
That one was pushed more than almost any other medication out there, except maybe tramadol.
Yeah.
And yet,
Tramadol,
look at the
Vicodin
horrendous
for
side
me,
effects
that's
now.
what was always pushed at me was Vicodin. And that was like literally from the age of 9 until I found Kratom. It was always, always, always. That was the one pill I definitely knew that I would at least have 2 of every month or every day was Vicodin, and then it was, your Oxys or your Perks. And it was just, they just keep throwing them at you. And then they quickly take them all away with no taper.
Yeah, I wasn't given a taper option, and when I couldn't find, I thought I'll find another
It's
doctor.
inhumane
I
the
couldn't
way
find a
that we
doctor.
are forced to deal with not only the pain
Yeah.
on a daily basis, but then having it ripped away like that. Like that could cause seizures. Somebody could lose a life that way, coming off of, a slew of medications that both of us, walked around looking like a pharmacy with what we had.
Well, luckily, I found somebody on Twitter, a pain patient advocate on Twitter. It wasn't Claudia. I hadn't discovered her yet, but I found this in 2019, and I was telling her, I saw an article that she contributed in Rolling Stone about, with champion for the chronic pain community and opiates and stuff. So I reached out to her, I DM'd her on Twitter, and I told her my story. She says, you call your primary care and you demand they put you on some kind of taper. They can't just do that to you without putting you on some kind of taper schedule. And so I did that. Deborah's saying she's having technical difficulties on here. So I did reach back out to the doctor and told them that, and they did end up putting me on a taper plan. 9 years everyday opiates and pain management with this one doctor. They gave me a 30-day, and my MME was really high. My MME was close to 200 a day, and they put me on a 30-day taper. Like, are you kidding me? And I just moved back to my childhood. I literally just moved back to my childhood home to take care of my mom because my dad had passed away suddenly, and somebody needed to take care of my mom, and I decided to be her in-home caregiver. And that's when all of this happened. I lose access, get stuck on this forced taper for 30 days, which was a joke. Find the documentary A Leaf of Faith. It's like, I got to try this Kratom stuff. It all happened really fast. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because, here it's been 7 years and I've just gotten amazing pain relief. I mean, I still have bad days, and I have, at my age, I know I look young, I'm not. And I get other aches and pains and flares and stuff. But natural Kratom helps my main pain issues, which is living with severe degenerative disc disease. And it's not just in my back, it's in my neck too. And I have a 3-legged husky dog, and she hurt her back leg this week. And that's not good when you only have one back leg. And so, I'm I have a sling. I'm kind of helping her because she's still a husky. She wants her walk. She wants to do all of her stuff as if she's fine. And it is hard for me to do. I have to keep bending down because I have to get this sling and put it under her. And then she doesn't stop moving, and then I'll have to start over. And it's like, if somebody had been following me yesterday when I was walking her and made a video, it would be a comedy because it was I was laughing the whole time at myself. But I had to bend down all the way down so many times, but because of Kratom, I can. And I think back to just the years and years that I could barely bend my back. And it's just amazing to me. Now, not everybody's going to have the same result as me, but it just reminded me this all started with that documentary, A Leaf of Faith. And I want to make sure if anybody's watching this and you haven't seen that documentary, it's not on Netflix anymore. It's on YouTube. Like, it's available. It's free. It is so good. And I definitely want, those that, especially those in pain management that are suffering. And I know there's a lot of y'all out there in pain management suffering that, this documentary can really open up your eyes to what this is. And if I don't even know, I think I know what would have happened if I had not seen the documentary, because at that time also I was like, I guess I need to find a drug dealer. How do I find seriously, how do I find a drug dealer? I don't know. I was getting a tattoo one day because I do have lots. And I asked my tattoo artist friend, I was like, how do I ask her this? I mean, we're friends. So I was like, and so like, how do I find a drug dealer? And then I also told her, I also just saw this documentary about Kratom. And I remember it's what she goes, Kratom, I remember that. I took some a long time ago and I took a whole bunch because I thought, I would need a whole bunch. And she said she got so sick. She said it was like exorcist sick. And she said, I threw up. She goes, I will never take that again. It was so bad. Because, a lot of times people think you need to take a lot of it.
Oh, the high tolerance thing. Everybody's like, oh, I've got a high tolerance. Not with this. Less is more. Less is more. Exactly. They have that. It's that mindset upstairs that I need more because this is what I take, whether it be illicit substance or a pharmaceutical. They're
right.
There's Deb.
There she is.
Back. Can you hear us, Deb? Oh, I don't think she can hear us. You don't hear us? Oh no. Okay. I wish she could hear us. She probably just needs to just do it speaker through her phone instead of a headset or Bluetooth, because that might be part of it. Well, let me play the trailer for this film. So if anybody's not familiar with this is what changed my life, was this documentary.
The United States is a world leader in prescription opioid abuse by far. How far? 90% of the world's opiates are taken here.
Before I had the stroke, I was doing about 90 pain pills a day for 7 years.
Had about 15 years of my life go by in a blur of opiates.
You could roll me up, stick me in a garbage bag, and put me out at the curb, and that was about all it was good for.
Do I think pharma made mistakes? Oh, yes, I do. But we also know there's more heroin on the streets than ever before. Afghanistan and the opium runs poison Americans.
What if I told you I had the cure for the opioid crisis in my hand?
It's not new. It's not synthetic.
Kratom represents a great starting point for developing new, safer pain relievers.
It's a plant that helps people overcome opiate addiction.
What do you guys hope comes out of this?
That I get to keep freedom in my life because it saved my life.
I'm just tired of pain.
This industry operates like a bunch of head shop little drug dealers.
They're packing capsules in their living room. They put it in a jar and they take it to smoke shops and sell it.
Do we want another addicting opiate on the planet?
People think slavery ended in 1865. It didn't. It's going on right now in 2017. If you're on opiates, you are a slave.
All right, Leap of Faith. Highly recommend the documentary. So it's on YouTube. It's a very interesting look at Kratom.
Yeah, you definitely want to watch it and share it with your friends and family so they can hear about it from that instead of the news.
I think one thing I cue on every time I watch it is that scientist saying, this is the new emerging benefit for treatment of pain. Dude, quit trying to science our plant.
Yeah.
It's natural botanical. Leave it alone.
Or stop silencing on us on what we're saying.
Right.
Because it's like, why silence us? We're preaching the same thing.
Exactly.
They don't want to demean it and cause it to be the devil until they get it approved as a narcotic drug or a medicinal treatment for chronic pain. And then suddenly it'll be the great white hope. No, that's what we've been doing all along. Leave us alone.
Yeah.
Let's have our plants.
Don't take my natural Kratom away.
Yeah. Just because you can make a pill out of it doesn't mean you should.
Yeah. Agreed 100%. Thank you for sharing that, Robin. Who saw the little video clip of Trump saying something about natural 7-OH? Did everybody see that? Okay. I'm going to play that clip because for anybody that doesn't know, I think we all been even more confused. People are so confused. Now it's even worse because everybody's like, natural 7-OH could go either way, right? Like, which, yeah. Robin, we're definitely getting feedback from you. It's like really loud. You might want to turn down your volume. I think it's a volume thing on your end. Let me play this. It's short, but I saw this earlier in the week and I'm like, oh my God, now everybody's going to be even more confused. And we're not going to politics. It's nothing. We're not going down that road. It's just, you have the president making a comment about 70H. So let's watch this.
On another topic, we're looking very seriously at natural 70H and getting that approved, natural 70H. And we'll take a look at that very strongly. I think Oz and everybody were looking to see if we can do something there. A lot of people are asking for it. And thank you very much for the work on that. And with that, do you have any questions?
All right. So just when everybody was already talking about the confusion, especially legislators, this is probably going to confuse everybody more, because did he mean to say natural kratom? Did he mean to say just the natural part of 70H, the metabolite that's in natural kratom, or some natural version of 70H? Huh? I think
My
people have more
first
questions.
thought was that he was talking about, my immediate first thought was that he was speaking of kratom, not actual 70 in products outside of kratom.
Same.
But then I started thinking about it. He calls it, the former press conference, they specifically said kratom was not on the radar. It would be fine. They were going after 70. But then to all of a sudden call it natural 70 and not kratom, of course, my mind had to go do more thinking about that, you know.
Yeah.
So it's possible maybe that he is thinking of the natural process of 70 in kratom coming over to say maybe 70 is, I don't think so, but we don't know, and that is just it.
Right. There's more
So,
questions than answers. I think everybody's so
yes.
confused because I'm
Right.
sure people are telling him about natural kratom and talking about 70H. We all know they're two separate things, and maybe just confusion. But the thing is, at the very end, he's talking about Dr. Oz, but then he points to one of those ladies further down, like at the very end, and like, you know, like giving her a shout out for like something with this too, like bringing him the info. But I didn't recognize who it just looked like staffers. So I don't know. Maybe it was somebody from the DEA or the FDA. We just know what you're referring to, Twinkle, was back in July, almost a year ago, the FDA and HHS said natural kratom, leaf kratom's fine, but we want 70H banned. But the DEA has to do it, and it's been almost a year. What's happening? Nobody's talking. Nobody's saying anything. So it's like, what's going on? Just back to more questions than answers.
Does anybody remember seeing the one he did a couple of months ago, and he had like a very brief like talk about the 70H and having it being like the opioid epidemic cure or something like that? Don't put me verbatim for word, but I remember a very small, and and it sounded pro 70 in that one too. So it's so confusing right now, which does not help, all the legislation right now.
So maybe that would be some low amount of 70H that would be considered natural. I mean, I don't know. It's just natural and natural and 70H just doesn't sound right, because it's not. It's a metabolite. It's not one of the main alkaloids. You don't.
It is. If you want to get technical,
right? But we're not going to do that. It's just when you pull. The thing is, when the farmer takes it off the tree, and we've talked about this a million times here. When the farmer takes it off the tree, there's no 70H present. You got all the main alkaloids, but when it dries because they can't send fresh leaves over here. Like when it's traveling overseas, it's got to be dried first. And through that drying process, we've all learned that's where you got the metabolite of the 70H. Even though when we consume kratom, our natural kratom, our liver, that's when it, the whole 70 converts in our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I mean, it's just one of those conversations. There's like so many different ways to look at it, but I think all that's happened this week is even more confusion because what did he mean by that? I mean, there's people talking about it online. There's articles written about it, and everybody's still confused. Like, what did this mean? So
you just have to wait and see.
Yeah, Deborah, I'm sorry it's not working on you. Yeah, just say in the live chat with us. So bummed that you're having technical issues being on screen with us. And just no shade to anybody in the live chat, but I'm only going to just, I'm not going to put all the political stuff on the screen here, but y'all can have your political chat in there, but just, I don't want to turn anything into politics. Deb says 70H doesn't occur until after the riot was pegged and is tried. So I think I can see where there's a lot of confusion for legislators, but then I just go back to, well, in the lobbyist's job is to educate them. Those of us that go to state legislators, that go to city meetings, that go to DC, to Capitol Hill, I've been twice there, educating legislators, aides on natural kratom. I've gone twice. It's great when we're able to do it as consumers, but it's the job of the lobbyist to be doing that regularly and educating. I mean, am I missing something? I mean, I'm right? I mean, isn't that what they're supposed to be doing?
Yeah, but honestly, I'm good with them not piling in there right now, because what they're doing is not, when you start throwing the word ban around, I don't support that with anybody. I don't care who you are. You want to ban something and stay, go back to prohibition? No, thanks. That's not in my wheelhouse. Nope. To me, that's purposely harming someone, like if you're going to start banning 7.0, then I mean, and I say it every time, you ban one thing from the plant, it's eventually going to take the whole plant out, and I want to be wrong. Please, let me be wrong, because I don't want to lose my plant and I don't want anybody else to lose it.
Yeah.
Regulation, not prohibition. And that's for any.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
Like what we were talking about last week, Robin, talking about the whole ashwagandha. It's like, ashwagandha, they want to ban that?
But it can remain in the extracts and the other forms, just not in the natural plant. I think that one was in India, though, for for the plant. They want to ban the plant, but you can.
It's the leaf, not the root or bark.
Right.
Yeah.
But there again, banning part of rather than regulating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, just like this comment here from Mike Craig. I'll just say Mike Craig because it's Craig, but he has Mike on here. I don't want to confuse people. Banning a substance will create a black market. Exactly, and that's going to be the problem. Is that the black market and all the problems that are going to come from that, and then who gets left hanging out in the wind? Us chronic pain people. Every time. So it's incredibly frustrating. I got some interesting news stories. I want to get back into some more news. Did y'all hear about the guy breaking in to a convenience store to steal kratom? I mean, it was 70H, but they say, of course, as always, media says kratom. So this was in New Jersey. I got two separate news stories to the same station. So the first day they do the whole story, but then they got more on their day too. So let me play this for y'all.
Workers say this guy told the clerk he wanted to see a package of kratom from behind the counter.
So he handed to him. He stand right here.
Once in hand, though, they say he ran out without paying. But that apparently wasn't enough, because police say the same guy came back to the Country Farm Food Market in Manchester Township hours later after it had closed for the night on Saturday. The man is seen on surveillance video smashing his way into the store. He then runs right back to the same spot, grabs several more packages, and runs off again.
He just goes straight away with the kratom. He take only kratom.
The back-to-back crimes don't come as a surprise to drug and alcohol specialists at the Ocean County Health Department.
The danger of the substance is I don't think people know what they're getting into when they start using it.
Kratom is very much marketed online as a health supplement, but unfortunately, in the concentrations that we have that exist today, it's highly addictive and can be misused pretty quickly.
Health authorities are sounding the alarm about more and more people in the region having adverse effects tied to synthesized, highly concentrated kratom products. that are widely available and legally sold in many convenience stores and gas stations.
What they report is it's pretty intense, just like an opioid withdrawal, where they require going in for medical detox.
But it could soon become a crime to sell these high-potency kratom products here in New Jersey. New legislation would classify their primary psychoactive compound, known as 7-O, as a controlled dangerous substance with no accepted medical use in the U.S.
So our biggest advice for our residents is to know what you're using.
The front window that got smashed at the store, not yet replaced. Police are hoping for a break in the case and want to hear from anyone who can help them zero in on who this guy is. Ted Greenberg, NBC 10.
Oh, man.
It was kind of weird because at first my eyes only saw him like taking one, maybe two packages, but then when they played the other part of the video, there was like 10 or more on the ground, so it didn't look like it.
Right.
But that's just how I guess our eyes, I don't know.
But that brand that they showed, that's one of the 7-O. The thing is, why are these in gas stations and convenience stores? As something we've been questioning all along, all these years. Why are those so easily accessible? Why have extract prior to that? Why were the extracts so? We all were shaking our heads like when all these things end up in gas stations and convenience stores. It's like that's going to be the problem. We're going to see issues because kids could get access to it, possibly. Or just more easily accessible in general for something, and letting companies make these super potent, strong products. And of course, that's going to make natural kratom look bad because natural kratom, who's going to be breaking down the glass window to go steal natural kratom?
And it belongs in some place where when you walk in, sorry. It belongs in somewhere where when you walk in, you are already carded as you're already supposed to be over 21. It shouldn't be in these gas stations like we've been saying and you've already said. So sorry, Twinkle.
Oh, you're fine. A couple years ago, it was the same thing with the extracts, a few new segments of the extracts. But I don't consider that solely 7-O problem. That is a criminal problem, and that is a person with an addiction problem. That's not only a 7-O person problem. That's a person.
Oh, it's
with
an
a
addiction.
problem.
It's an addiction problem.
Exactly.
He happens to be taking
He just
7-O.
happened to steal the 7-O.
And a few years ago, before 7-O was on the market, he would have been doing that with extracts. We saw that. We watched
And
right
he could have
here
been going
these
to the
news
streets.
stories.
And
Yes.
instead he smash and grab this place because you're not going up to a drug dealer on the street and robbing them. You'll be killed. So he ended up doing that instead, I guess. But I hope he gets help. I'll pray for him.
Yeah. And Mike makes a great point. There's liquor stores getting broken into every night. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not banning alcohol, and we've I mean, how many times do we see minors out there smoking a cigarette? I mean, I used to be able to buy cigarettes at the age of 12 years old from, just a regular old liquor, convenience store down in California. No problem,
Yep. And I had a smoking court at school. We could smoke in school, even though
Oh my
we weren't
gosh,
supposed
my
to.
campus too.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
see,
had
mine
a
was an
smoking
open
area.
Smoking
Yeah.
campus, yeah. But
We had to walk across the street.
I'm up there in age, yeah.
Yeah, we had that. We had that in the 80s. I used to do that all
See,
the
like
time.
we've had a lot of people say, oh, like, kids are getting this. And I mean, I've got a background in education as well. And I know quite a few people that are teachers. And, one of my, longtime Kratom friends, Keith, teaches. And he's like, I can tell you from a teacher's point of view, we don't see anybody here. No teachers are talking about it. No kids are talking about it,
right.
They're not getting it. And he's in New York, and they're dealing with, more ban hearings there as well too. And, that's the thing. It's like, they're going, oh, I know these people, and teachers and kids are saying this, but I'm like, I'm hearing it firsthand from fellow people who, work in education, and you're not seeing it. So I'm just kind of like, where's all these stories coming from? It's kind of just, I don't know. I don't know where all these are coming from.
If anything, the media is putting such a spotlight on this that there probably are some kids around the country going, oh, this can get a legal high. Oh, I can get it at the drugstore. Let me go get it. I mean,
I guarantee a lot of these kids haven't heard about it until the news.
they're actually creating their own problem.
Yes, they are.
Especially with the misinformation that they're putting on the news.
Absolutely. Let me play you the next, so the video we just watched. Here's the next day. Let's watch this.
When we have new information on a kratom theft near the Jersey Shore, Manchester Township Police say they have made an arrest after a burglary at the Country Farms convenience store. Surveillance video from May 9th shows someone smashing the storefront, grabbing packages of kratom and taking off. Detectives identified the man as Keith Mulligan from Medford. They found him Wednesday sleeping in his car. Kratom is sold legally and marketed as a health supplement, but health officials say in certain concentrations, it can be highly addictive.
All right, there you go. That's how it ended. You can see he only took a few from. It's kind of confusing because we saw.
He's definitely looking for that instant quick high, not thinking long term. I mean, when you're faced with an entire wall of product and you take 5 or 10, that's an addiction problem.
But it was weird how when he went outside, though, there was a whole bunch on the ground. How did those get there? Because on the shelf, he just grabbed a few.
That's what I mean. And somebody
it looked very staged.
That said it was. It looks like a false flag. That was my immediate reaction when I watched it. As they cut the video and put more in, now there's an allotment of it on the ground. When it looked like he grabbed so fast, how would you feel?
He had just a few in his hand, but he's leaving, and outside there's like all. It's like where something is not jiving there. Something's off.
Someone's getting paid for it. Just so people know, like I know I keep mentioning, that the studies of the mint and 7-OH. I put that in the chat for anybody who wants that. So I put that in the comments. That way, if anybody wants to look at it and read it for themselves, it's all there.
Last night, I shared a bunch last night to Twitter off my list that I've been compiling for months. Yeah, good. I'm glad you did that then.
Yeah, and Deb, I see your comment. So yeah, if you can come in on your computer, that's fine. Just use the same link. And then Mike says that video harks back to the early 2000s, where people would bum rush the pharmacy for OxyContin. Yeah, it was pretty rampant in those early years. I remember in the 90s, OxyContin was in the news all the time. Because
a person with a problem is going to do what they have to do.
100%.
Just like somebody else that is just trying to have pain relief. People are just, what I'm trying to say is depending on the person's situation or what they're living with or through, they're still going to do whatever they can to feel better. I'm not ever meaning to put people like that down. So I hope it doesn't come across that way. It's just that there's a difference between a person that is struggling with that and a person that's struggling to stay alive because they have chronic pain. They're both ill, but it's different things going on with their journey, So.
Right. Exactly. Deb's going to try to come in on her computer. This next news story is out of Utah. We hadn't heard much about Utah until this week, so watch this.
All new here at 5 o'clock in politics now. A federal court turned down an attempt to block Utah's new kratom regulation law. Botanic Tonics and the Global Kratom Coalition were trying to stop Utah's Kratom Regulation Act, which bans selling products like Feel Free. Well, that failed in court. Utah kratom sellers say the law makes it so only places like smoke shops can sell the product, which they say could hurt customers.
They just want people to see kratom as something you get at a smoke shop. That's really it. And trying to associate with those type of people, it's just the opposite of what we do. Like, people come here because they don't want to go there.
Well, we're told the kratom ban is also costing Utah businesses hundreds of millions of dollars.
All right. So that's what's happening there, because in Utah, yeah, you made it back. My understanding in Utah is their natural kratom is safe, but it was the extracts in 7-OH that got banned. Is that right? Okay, Robin says yes. So they're trying to get.
It's a really weird writing in the bill, but basically that's the easiest way to say it.
Yeah. Interesting. So yeah, I just thought that was interesting. That popped up in the news this week of this lawsuit and trying to keep those. What do y'all think is going to happen with that?
I don't see him giving up. I don't see him stopping.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Deborah, I'm glad that you made it back because we love having you here with us as our guest today. Yeah, Extreme says Utah banned extracts, only allow leaf and smoke shops assigned with agriculture. How are they going to enforce online orders? So, and this comment says AKA and GKC should merge. All the billionaires on that side, the people on our side. Let's get back to some more news stories. Did y'all hear about the cop in the news? There's this interesting one, Atwood, Illinois.
Atwood Police Department, that's the one we mentioned last week. He is amazing.
Well, so there's two parts to this. I'm gonna play part one first. So let's watch this.
Closer to home here in Atwood, the police chief there is sharing a warning on social media, hoping to educate parents about potential harmful and an easily accessible drug.
There's a new product of Kratom that has come out, and it's in several forms now, in capsules, in pill form, tablets, stuff like that. And it hits the same receptors as opioids. And what I mean by opioids, things like fentanyl and heroin, morphine, norco or hydrocodone.
Now, he says the biggest concern with this new Kratom variant is that, like opioids, it depresses your respiratory system. If you overdose, you will stop breathing. But unlike other drugs, he says Narcan does not help reverse the symptoms.
All right, so that's the short news story of him having his say about Kratom. But what we rarely see is when something's retracted. And we've talked about that many times here. How come things don't get retracted in the news when they're proven wrong? A great example of this would be a while back, I don't remember how long ago it was, but there were these reported deaths in LA County attributed to 7-OH. And this is it's not advocating for 7-OH. I'm just relaying this story about how it was all over the news. I'm sure a lot of y'all remember this, that they're saying 7-OH killed these people. But it was interesting how it said they all had alcohol in their system too. It was very weird reporting. And I did a lot of research on this and I looked at it from all the different angles. Then what do you think happened not too long after that? They were proven wrong. It was not true. All of those deaths were disputed and proven to not be 7-OH. And the county put out, I played it here. They put out a letter stating that. So I showed y'all this online. I remember I pulled up the website to show y'all this, because when that story broke about these deaths, of course we watched videos, we watched the news stories because it's like, oh my God, that's terrible. But then over a period of time, it was just the county came back and said we were wrong. Did any of those news organizations say anything, do anything? No. And so
they need to make that story. Yeah, they need to make the correction and retraction story just as big as they make the original story.
Absolutely. So with the cop we just saw, he actually made a video that he put out. I'm going to play this for y'all because we just don't see retractions very often or clarifications.
Yesterday, I did a video about a substance called Kratom. Now, I'm not above admitting when there are things that I could do better. And so there's something that I need to clarify about that video. Now, first of all, I want to say that the original intent of that video was to spread awareness to parents about a substance that was out there and was easily accessible and could possibly do harm to their children. I still stand by that intent. But what I did not do a good job at is explaining the difference between pure leaf Kratom, actual Kratom, and the 7-OH products that are being pushed, packaged, and marketed as Kratom. Kratom is a plant and 7-OH is an active alkaloid that comes from kratom. The percentage of 7-OH in kratom in its plant or leaf form is very, very minute. It's only in trace amounts, and it only amounts to a fraction of 1%. Kratom has been around for a long time, and when it first hit the market, it was sold in a leaf or powder form. In that form, there was little to no 7-OH content. The biggest pushback that I had yesterday to my video was that 7-OH is the problem. Kratom is not the problem. And I agree with that statement. 7-OH is the alkaloid that causes the opioid-like effect. Somewhere along the way, companies altered the 7-OH to intensify the opioid effect. So now what we have is a bunch of very potent 7-OH products that are being marketed, packaged, and sold as kratom when they're not actually kratom. So unfortunately, we've gone from natural leaf kratom that could actually have some kind of natural benefits to it to an altered form in 7-OH that is not actually kratom, but it's being marketed and sold as kratom. And it actually has the potential for being dangerous. So I guess you'd have to say that probably the most dangerous thing about this is the fact that 7-OH, which is not actually kratom and is very potent, is being marketed as kratom, and that's just deceiving and confusing. So I want to apologize for not explaining these differences, and in doing so, or in not doing so rather, creating some confusion. So after my video, I had a very good conversation with a gentleman who is in the kratom business and has been for quite some time. And I want to give a shout out to him. He doesn't want his name to be public, and I understand that, but I want to give him some credit for being willing to have a conversation with me about this. So thank you for your time. I hope I was able to clear this issue up. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.
Wow.
And he did, there are still some challenges and issues, but just the fact that he came out and publicly made a video saying, I was wrong, I made a mistake, and here's where I need to correct. That was such a breath of fresh air.
It really was.
And there's so many of us, and I tracked comments as much as I could, but everyone that go in and commented politely, respectfully, and with fact. And he, as you see, he responded to that. So it goes back to be kind, be nice.
So many people thanked him. I saw that a lot. Thank you so much for going in, and even if you're like, you know, a 7 supporter, they really appreciated it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I would say for anyone in the Atwood area, be watching your local city council meetings.
Yeah. So refreshing to have that kind of, you know, information go out publicly. All right, next story. Listen to the title of this news story from Michigan. On YouTube, it says, "School warned parents of kratom dangers." So, you know, very typical for clicks and views.
Thank you, Chris. At this hour, school districts in Genesee County want parents to know about a rising danger their children can get their hands on. We're told kratom, commonly referred to as gas station heroin, is being sold locally and ending up in the hands of students.
TV5's James Felton learned why kratom is a growing problem and what you can do to keep your kids safe from it.
We've had incidents in Genesee County where we've had children end up in the ER for an overdose on this, and it is happening.
Overdoses on kratom products.
Is that true? I mean, are we really hearing reports of kids?
Which is ridiculous because we know there's scientific proof that there's no way you can overdose on it.
Right.
If they're talking some other substance, I can't speak for that. But on pure leaf kratom, first off, ain't no kid gonna take it.
Yep.
Second, no, you can't overdose. You're gonna throw up. And that's a pretty good cure for anybody that thinks they're going to take kratom to get high. Is take too much, throw up. They're not going to try it again.
It's the same with 7.
Exactly.
I mean, I took too much 7 one time, And just like I took too much Kratom one time, I got the exact same effects. And we all call those the wobbles. You get the, like the mini eye visions. There's a really fun meme that I send out for the wobbles. But, I get sweaty. I puked. I laid down, and in about an hour, I was good. And that happened exactly the same with both 7. It's happened with Mitt, and it's happened with, Plain Leaf. I've done it once with every single one of them, because when you're in a lot of pain, you're like, oh, I could take a little bit more because I'm in pain. No, not with this. You can't. And with 7, there's a ceiling effect. Like, you're done after a certain amount. You're not going to get higher, as some people, are saying with this product. There's a ceiling effect. Like it stops. You can't get more from it. It stops. You're just wasting your product at that point.
Because it's also a partial. It's not.
And let's add on reputable, regulated, safe, tested products, because we don't know what these guys are getting a hold of and where it came from or what's in it.
Yeah, I've done my dive already.
Yeah, they're not looking for a COA to make sure it's safe.
Nope. And how do we know it's safe once it's been stored in the gas station? Is it properly in a temperature controlled room? Are they, have rodents gotten into it and maybe taken a little nibble, and they just put it right on the shelf and people are getting sick? We don't know how they are storing it. This is why I know I'm constantly saying, use a reputable vendor, whether, whatever you're getting, Mitt, 70H, Plain Leaf, Kratom. Make sure you are reading every single one of those lab tests. Read it, do your own, own research. Make sure you get, and I say to everybody, if there's a responsible vendor out there, they have no issue doing a quick video of their clean room with some sort of either them, like, hey, how you doing? Or their logo in the thing. Happy Hippo has it all over the place. Like, I love the way Happy Hippo was just like, hey, here, look at our clean room, or hey, this is where the caps are done. And, it's like any good vendor that's reputable has zero problem showing you labs, showing you their clean room, showing you, how products are stored. And you can call the number on the labs to confirm, yes, this was so-and-so's product, and yes, it passed or failed. You can call the lab yourself and find all of that out with any product you're taking in, Kratom, Mitt, extract, whatever. You could find that out on the labs yourself.
Yeah. Any thoughts to share, Deb? I know you've been in and out with your issues getting on here.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I always, whenever I recommend to anyone to do your research, use a vendor that does third-party testing. I every time I've recommended, but of course I don't do that now because I just want to stay as low profile here in Tennessee as possible. I don't want to cause any problems. When I travel, then it's going to be all out. But as far as here, I can't in good conscience recommend this to anyone anymore because of the laws, the new laws that are going to take effect in July.
That's so scary. That's coming up, for those that just got here. Deb's in Tennessee, where they recently decided to ban and criminalize all Kratom.
So sorry, Deb, that you're having to go through this. And I know. It is
sad. I just had a friend of mine leave Tennessee last week and come back to New Hampshire.
Well, if I could, I would. If I could leave here and move somewhere else, just pull up stakes, I would, but that's impossible for us right now. I mean, we just finished a $100,000 renovation on our house. I mean, it's just, there's a lot going on here and we can't leave. We've got too much invested, but we can travel. So that's something that I'm excited about, more so than I used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you'll be able to enjoy traveling though, because you'll be able to treat your pain and whatever else you need to have, like you'll be able to enjoy it. I feel so bad. I have friends in Tennessee. I've got, customers in Tennessee, and a friend of mine just left Tennessee and came back to New Hampshire because they banned it. It's ridiculous.
Well,
It's ridiculous. But it's like, people have the opportunity to get up and move, but then it's like, what happens to those people that do get up and move? And then you have the next state, it's like a lot of people are like, well, I would move, but right now it's like, well, where to? Because every state right now we're dealing with bans. So it's kind of like a tough situation.
Well, last year, I only started using natural leaf kratom last year. And when we took off on our trip last summer, was the first time that I actually enjoyed traveling. Usually it's so hard for me, but I drove my motorhome all over the country and I was on natural leaf kratom. I wasn't impaired. So, I think this whole complete and utter ban is ridiculous, but I have to abide by the law here.
Yeah. Yeah. I hate there's like in several states that now have passed bans that like nobody should have to go through this. It's not right. Not right. But we appreciate you being here and sharing your perspective in all of this.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me. I don't know how long my internet's going to last, but
that's all. Yeah. Well, we appreciate it because, we were chatting while you were in Tennessee at the state capitol multiple times, going to those hearings and keeping us posted and the frustration of going and speaking to legislators in their offices and them just not caring.
Yeah, definitely. I had just had, major surgery on my back. And 2 weeks later, I was at the Capitol, walking the halls and trying to get people to listen to me. And if it hadn't have been for natural leaf, I couldn't have done that. I could not have done it because my doctor certainly didn't give me enough pain meds to last for 2 weeks. So, I was very grateful that I could use it when I did. And now I'm going to be super grateful when we go to places where it's legal.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully we can get a federal KCPA, and that I'm hoping that states that ban kratom will undo their bans. But we also know it is possible to get bans undone. It happened,
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island. Thank you.
Yeah.
Rhode Island, and almost happened in Arkansas. So close. Yeah. It can happen. But when you're living there, that's still like you're having to live day by day of not being able to access your natural kratom.
I'm really hoping to be able to go to Washington in June. That's my goal. If we get everything done as far as our remodel here, and I hope that that I can go and at least lend a voice.
Yeah, exactly. Let me put back that news story. Let's finish watching this.
And I hope so, Deb. I hope I see you there.
Wait, what's that, Venus?
I was just telling Deb I hope I see her there because I'm going to try hopefully to be there too. So
awesome.
Behavioral Health and Recovery Center in Flint. Recently, the Genesee School District sent out a letter warning parents of the dangers of kratom and 7-hydromitragenine, known as 7-O.
My understanding is the school systems across the state are experiencing this in vapes and other forms, and it's still readily available.
Hudgens tells me he's seen these products at local gas stations.
It's on the shelf. It's right there at the register. Probably going to be sitting right next to a 5-hour energy drink.
And he says they're not regulated.
It can cause death. It is something that should be regulated. It is not. And kids can get a hold of it. You go in, and this is where I've got, you've got this, and you've seen it, that you go into anywhere, and yes, it's supposed to be limited to over 18, but the reality is kids are getting it. They're getting it. They're getting it in vape form. They're getting it in pill form. And it can cause serious health.
Vape form? What products is he talking about that are in vape form?
I've heard small things about vape forms, but I like under my impression, doesn't the heat kill off the alkaloids? I've heard people that have said they've tried it, but it's useless. It's BS, and it's kind of a bunk product type of a thing, so it doesn't work.
Interesting, because I haven't seen any vape products on this, and
I've never heard of that either.
yeah,
It was like there for a second and gone.
Yeah, there's been talk of doing vape, but to me, it's just a marketing ploy to make a whole lot of quick bucks and get out of the business, because you're not going to get any benefit from vape. It's extremely high heat.
Right.
And while some kratom can survive higher heats, it can't survive that kind of heat that I've ever seen.
Well, Mike says there are 7 vapes, but the alkaloid gets broken down by the heat, which is what y'all were just saying. So, yeah, I think that's why we don't really see much with any kind of vape product for that, because of that. All right, let me keep going here.
Health concerns.
Given that, he tells us parents need to pay attention to what their kids have so they don't end up in the ER or worse.
Be aware of what your child has in your refrigerator. Be aware of what your child is taking, what they're getting at school. So education is key. We know quite often children know more about what the new street hot thing is than we do. Talk to them, ask them, get the resources. Don't be afraid to reach out to help. Communicate with the school.
James Felton, W.
Okay.
And let's start. I swear I'm going to start a campaign about energy drinks, because every kid I know buys and consumes energy drinks on a level that is horrendous to watch. I have grandkids that try to drink those things, and they're deadly, especially when you're drinking 2 and 3 and 5 of them a day. Why aren't we going after those?
Good question. Lobbying groups.
Yeah,
they have a lot of money. I mean, why does nothing ever happen with alcohol? They have the biggest well-funded lobbying groups. And back in the day with cigarettes, it took, the lobbying groups, the industries that have a lot of money can hire the people to influence government, which is a real shame. But that was an interesting story out of Michigan. There's so many stories, y'all. I just can't believe how many there are this week that I've uncovered. Let me play this next one that is another Michigan one that's short, but is interesting.
I think we're going to see a continued increase in these stories, Madeline, because we are the new big thing, and nothing else has come along to take our place yet.
Absolutely. All right, so here we go. Get a lot of background sound from somebody. Uh-oh. Did I not get it on the Peloton? Did I press the wrong button? It was playing, but then I came back and it wasn't there.
Thank you, Julia. Following a kratom overdose death in Marquette County, the county health department is warning residents of the risks of some kratom products. The health department warns against kratom extracts or concentrates containing 7-hydroxymitragynine, or 7-OH, or mitragynine pseudoindoxyl, also known as MP. The department says 7-OH and MP are stronger than morphine and can interfere with prescription medications, which can cause overdoses and other negative health outcomes. Marquette County Health Department's administrative health officer and director says kratom products can act like prescription opiates.
Those products can bind to the same receptors in your brain that opioid medications do, and thereby, increase the risk of overdose fatality. And it's important for the public to know that.
The department says kratom product overdoses can be treated with naloxone or Narcan.
Okay.
Make up your minds. One health department says no, it can't. One health department says yes, it can. The next one says, well, we don't know. Come on, guys, at least do a consistent story, even if you can't do a true one.
Right. Exactly. But, just trying to play devil's advocate with the whole Narcan thing. The only thing that's come out about Narcan was like we know with natural kratom. No, Narcan. Natural kratom does not suppress breathing. But this whole thing about Narcan with 7-OH, the only research that I've seen out there was the one done with mice with IV 7-OH.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
if it, and I understand the whole thing with mice and humans, I get it, but it's like, has it been proven? Is there data that shows this with humans? Because we've yet to see that. If the scientists want to say 7-OH suppresses breathing, okay. But when we find out it was because of one study and they used IVs in rats, it's like
big difference.
Give me
and
more
large
than
doses,
that.
very large doses.
Yeah, it's like
in a tiny little rat that can only take so much in the first place. So I just want to know the truth, and I want to know at what point,
right?
If somebody took high amounts of 7, at what point would actual respiratory depression take effect, or would it? Because
And
right
was
now
it
it's very wishy-washy. In one sense, it will not, it doesn't cause it.
Oh wait,
We're
getting feedback really bad right now from somebody on here. Okay, I think it might have been Robin. Go ahead.
And then, it's just very wishy-washy. I'll just leave it at that. We just don't know yet. And the only test that said that it did was in those little rats that are only between 5-10 pounds. Even if you got a big one, it's 12-15 pounds. I mean, it's just, and that's intravenously. That's not by consumption.
Well, that wasn't even disclosed for the longest time of the IV.
It was led to, right. It was led to believe that 7-0 period caused respiratory depression.
Yeah, I mean, I want the facts. I want the facts.
Me too.
I am not advocating.
It's not an opioid. That's why Narcan doesn't work for it. But we also aren't overdosing from it either. That's the thing, is nobody's overdosing from it, and Narcan doesn't work for it because it's not an opioid. It's not a it's not an oxy. It's not whatever this fentanyl stuff and everything else is out on the streets. That's why it doesn't work, because you're not overdosing. It doesn't
because
that's not what it's for.
Like it. Same as Kratom. Kratom also, we've known all along, Kratom also acts like an opioid. Maybe lighter than 7-0. 7-0 may do that, more. It might be
without the impairment of any opioid ever.
Right. So, I just want somebody to do a study. Now, one of the ones I put out yesterday was very in-depth, and it was a very long read, but it was also, and I only put that over on X, but some of them are very long reads, but at least these things are occurring, and people say that there's no studies. These are from legitimate sources, NCB, I just drew a blank. They're studies. They're not just somebody's opinion writing an article or a blog.
Yeah.
Well, and right at the top of that story, they talked about an actual overdose death. I want to see the receipts, because we all know it was undoubtedly polysubstance.
Yeah.
And
going back to,
if you're on medication, please be careful. Consult your doctor.
Right. And going back to, what 7-0 product was it, and was it actually safe? Was it regulated? Was it tested? Did it have a COA? So yeah, I want the receipts.
Yeah, and Lois makes a great comment here. Basically, it's the same fight, same arguments, same ban attempts against regarding extracts. Exactly, we were talking about that earlier. It's like fill in the blank. Which one now? Yeah, there's just so many news stories related to this all over the country. I got another short one to show you here. That's from Missouri that just came out. So let's watch this one.
Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway's efforts to immediately halt sales of a drug she says poses a public health risk have been halted. Jackson County Circuit Court Judge Charles McKenzie rejected the AG's request for a temporary restraining order stopping 7-OH sales Friday, writing that there wasn't enough evidence Hanaway's suit would win to grant the order. Hanaway filed the suit against American Shaman and its affiliates April 1st, claiming under the Missouri Merchandising Practices Act that sales of Kratom and 7-OH in gas stations and other stores harm the public. Arguments were heard in court last week, and you can read more about this development and the drugs the Attorney General is going after on KQ2.com.
Well, what do y'all think of that?
No comment.
I mean, that.
I hate they keep calling it a drug.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm so sick of it being called a drug because it's not.
It's a plain leaf plant. The original medicines.
I mean, I think the thing with, and it's not to like, you know, oh, you got to pick a side with all this. It's just, why is there so much flip-flopping? And that's really what I meant. Like, your thoughts, like, why is there flip-flopping? The Attorney General wants 7-OH banned, kind of like what Florida did, right? But y'all know in Florida, it's about to be unbanned because that was an emergency order. And apparently their legislative body did not take it further.
Redo it. Right.
So 7-OH is going, when is that?
And why didn't they redo it? That's what I want to know.
I think around June 1st or something.
Yeah. It's like, isn't this reminiscent of, yeah, thanks, Robin. It is reminiscent of natural kratom when they were trying to ban in 2016, and then when they tried again in 2018, but the government kept holding back because the studies did not prove it was unsafe. So I'm not saying, and people know not to be turning my, I'm not saying 7-OH is safe, y'all. I'm trying to understand all the flip-flopping and what's really going on behind the scenes here. So the Attorney General was in the news constantly in Missouri talking about they're doing that emergency ban on 7-OH, just like Florida did. But now all of a sudden, the court order was denied. So what is there something? Is there something scrupulous going on? Scrupulous? Is there something just, or are they finding the science doesn't back it? I just want to know what's going on here.
Yeah, because from all of this is when we watched a couple weeks ago her talking about this lawsuit, everybody was dead certain she would win. And now suddenly she doesn't have enough evidence to win.
Yeah, I know, and it just makes it like, is there data that supports that 7-OH is not harmful, but is being suppressed until it's in a situation like this where, you know, it's like a judge. I mean, what did this judge see that made him not grant this court order to the Attorney General, who was on the news every day
Right.
for weeks? It was such a big deal in the news there. We saw so many news stories about it.
I'm really curious to how this is going to play out.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely, all is not right in Denmark.
And now there's one story that came out in South Carolina where Kratom has been under attack. So there's a new story. Let me share this one with y'all.
At the State House tonight, the clock is ticking as lawmakers enter the final week of the session. A bill to ban Kratom has passed the House, but its future in the Senate remains unclear. Supporters calling it dangerous, opponents warning a ban could backfire. State House reporter Stephen Biddick tonight at 6 with the latest, telling us why this bill may not make it to the finish line.
Some doctors I spoke with call these Kratom products, quote, gas station heroin. They say the natural leaf can have some medicinal value, but much of what you see in stores is synthetic and can even be deadly.
It's concerning, and a lot more work has to be done on this.
Medical professionals like Dr. Suzanne Schwab say synthetic Kratom products line the shelves at local gas stations. She's pushing to classify kratom as a Schedule 1 drug and pull it from store shelves.
We're experiencing deaths due to kratom. We're also having babies born with syndromes similar to opioid addiction from this 7-OH synthetic kratom.
The FDA has warned against kratom use, but Dr. Kirsten Smith disagrees. She studied kratom for a decade and says it's safer than critics claim. Smith says kratom helps people struggling with addiction break free from opioids and other drugs.
Kratom and 7-OH are not categorically dangerous. If they were, I would not be here today. They have benefits and risks which require further study and greater regulation. They should not be scheduled, and at the federal level, they have not been.
Last year, the governor signed a law banning kratom sales to anyone under 21. House lawmakers went further, passing a bill that would essentially ban kratom statewide. The South Carolina Law Enforcement Division says it's a growing problem.
It is a polydrug substance. I mean, we're seeing it mixed in with other opiates, other illicit compounds such as MDMA.
But senators aren't quite ready to act. They're raising questions about the kratom industry, including what a ban would mean for businesses that opened under last year's law.
And so by simply now what the House is trying to do, just ban it, we would shut down businesses that we enabled by legislation last year.
Ultimately, state senators said they need more information, meaning kratom laws will not change this year. But you can expect lawmakers to take another look next session. Reporting at the State House, I'm Stephen Bill.
All right.
Well, hopefully by next year, everybody has their ducks in a row and all their information is rock solid so that they don't have to continue fighting this in South Carolina.
Right.
And I think Dr. Kirsten Smith is being entirely honest. I mean, everybody used to love her when she supported kratom only. Once she teeter-tottered a little bit over onto 7-0, now people don't like her. But I find when I hear things, I go also try to do a research on it because there's just so much I don't believe anymore because there's so much, I don't want to call it misinformation, but teeter-tottering information. You don't know what the actual truth is. So then I got to go look more and look into whatever article it is or whatever study to find out where I could be the closest to the right thing in my mind or with my information. And I think she's being truthful. And so I appreciate her. Still.
Well, she's been a kratom researcher for a very long time.
That's what I mean.
And a lot of people had a lot of respect for Dr. Michelle Ross because she wrote the book Kratom is Medicine. And so many people really, were very thankful for her. But then she starts talking about 7-0 because she also talks about cannabis, and a lot of other plants. But she started talking about 7-0 and she too has, dealt with some of the same things that I've had to deal with, like a lot of my long-term, friends in the community won't talk to me anymore because I support all the alkaloids.
Me too. And I'm getting that now too. I mean, and I'm not even going to try to care too much every once in a while. I think I mentioned before, might sting a dab, but I'm not offended because somebody else is kratom only. But they seem like they're offended because I just want it all regulated and people to be able to choose what benefits them for their pain relief. I'm a chronic pain advocate. I'm more a chronic pain advocate, first and foremost, rare disease and disabilities advocate than anything else. But because that community is suffering from chronic pain, I have to think of the chronic pain side of it before I think of the potential dependency or addiction side of it.
Thank you for sharing that.
I agree, Twinkle.
I mean, the thing is, we're all grown adults making our own adult choices. I don't use 7-OH, but and I don't think that or other substances that are not killing and harm. I mean, we know there are some harms with 7-OH and even with natural kratom. People abuse things. Period. We know this. Everybody knows this. But we're not talking we're looking at the big picture. Look at how many people's lives have been saved by natural kratom. And in the pain community, we hear a lot of people that are getting amazing benefits with therapeutic levels of 7-OH. So I don't see anything wrong with that. Do I take 7-OH? No, I have no need for it. I take natural kratom. It works amazing. I take it every 6 hours and I magically don't suffer like I used to in pain management with my back and neck. If the powder wasn't working or stopped working, would I use 7-OH? I possibly would, just like how I used to take opiates, as some people want to demonize. If people want to demonize us making our grown adult choices, then shame on them. You know, don't be judging people. And you know, I know some people don't like that we don't judge people, but this is a judgment-free zone. And if you like judging people, then don't come here. We don't want you here. We don't even want you watching. I know when you unmute, Robbie. Yeah, I don't know why that's echoing so loud. But, you know, we're not going to judge people because it's just not right. And that's not just a 7-0 thing. I'm not going to judge people that use 7-OH responsibly. I don't even judge the people that are irresponsibly using 7-OH or natural kratom. They need help. And they should be able to get help. Nobody should be demonizing. Now, if children were getting access and it was a problem, that's a whole different thing. I don't support that. And ever since these products have been in gas stations and convenience stores where they're so easy to get and not locked behind a counter, we're always going to see problems with this. I don't want minors getting access to things. They shouldn't get access to alcohol. They shouldn't get access to things they should not be using. But, you know, I'll get off my high horse now. Who else has a thought?
I agree with what you said, Madeline. I can't say it any better.
Same.
Yeah, we're just, you know, I shouldn't lose access to kratom that helps me tremendously and allows me to still be a productive member of society and work and do things.
And that's why the education is so important, so people know the difference between the two and know how to be responsible when they find it, or, you know, and like we keep saying, it doesn't belong in the gas stations either.
And see, no judgment on Angela. She says that her pain's been getting worse and she's doing nibbles of 7-0 now.
Well, I'm glad she's finding some relief, because that's what matters. If that's what's helping you find some relief, then, you know, who am I to sit there and say, don't take it, you know?
Absolutely. And I pray she has relief. And I'm definitely not out here saying it can't, you know, be careful. I don't know if it's going to cause a dependency for someone, but as long as we're careful, then, you know, there's too many of us hurting all day, every day.
We have a pain epidemic.
Some worse than others, and there's no help. You don't go to the doctor and get help, and maybe if you get anything at all, it's more injections. I can't do that anymore. I've had so many. I know it contributed to my spine decaying. I already had issues, but we know this. I mean, I have the broken spinal cord stimulator. You know, I will just need to do, as long as it is legal for me and it's over the counter, well, then I will just do that until that option is gone. And then I don't know what I'll do, but I'll stay in prayer for it. So, Angela, I hope, you know, be safe, and I hope that it helps you.
Yeah.
And you deserve, if it's giving you help. And because I remember you, Twinkle, when you were saying you couldn't do things, and then now you can. You know, so you could do things because of plain leaf kratom, or because of the 7-0, you're able to do even more. And that really changed my mind. And I think just everybody needs to keep that in mind, that it really is helping people out there, and it can be used responsibly, like you said.
Yeah, thank you.
Such a great conversation. These are always great every week. I love hosting this with all of you all. It's so great. Extreme says we can talk about being careful, but shop clerks are giving away free samples and saying it's 5 hour. What they're saying is like a 5-hour energy drink. Really? Can't condemn customers because they believe the seller. I think one of the biggest problems we've had too is like the smoke shops that were giving free samples of 7-OH. That should not have been allowed.
Like, you know, it's a lot of the like the vape, the cigarettes, the gas stations. I see the smoke shops out here, like, and everything here is behind locked counter, and you still have to be 21 plus to even enter. Like, I don't even know if a parent can come in with their child. I've never seen a child in any of these facilities because it is a 21 plus facility, but they're not handing that out though there. So if it's being handed out, again, if it's these gas stations that are causing it, if this is a big issue, get it out of where the issue is coming, because again, the responsible ones that use it, the vendors who are, doing it the same way, Plain Leaf is, like verbatim of, testing, labs, labeling, warnings, marking, hey, do not exceed this amount of, and such and such for 24 hours. Why are we going to punish so many who are law-abiding citizens? They're doing it right. They're not hurting anybody. They're not harming anyone. Why are we going to punish so many as a whole? Get it out of where the problem seems to be and regulate it. If it means lowering the percentage, then lower the percentage. I'm not going to argue with it.
The bad actors need to go. I mean, that's a big part of this issue, or the bad actor companies. And they need
which goes back to regulation.
Yes.
The industry has to be regulated. It's come a long way, but it still has further to go.
Straight to the ones that are making the Roxys. Why aren't they going straight to them and going straight after them versus the user as a whole? Because the user is being punished, not the supplier of these Roxys and, a few other ones.
Yeah, well, Extreme makes a great comment here. Why do we keep saying we need to educate, but none of the lobbying groups are putting an effort to come up with a planned resolution? I sure like to know.
And that's a very valid question.
Absolutely. I mean, that's their job.
It's extremely valid.
And we're not seeing that. I'm not seeing it when I attend the hearings.
When we sit and listen to a hearing and the people say they have more questions at the end of it than they did at the beginning, that's a challenge. That's an issue.
Definitely. I got one more video for y'all. Listen to the title of this. Family alleges ChatGPT gave 19-year-old deadly drug advice before fatal overdose. Has anybody heard of this one?
Yeah.
I heard it. Again, get something soft to throw.
Yeah, because this one is crazy. And we'll definitely have a lot to talk about with this. So let me play this for y'all.
You might want to forget Dr. Google these days. It seems a third of American adults are turning to artificial intelligence when they've got a medical question. That from the most recent study by KFF. And now a family is suing OpenAI, claiming its chatbot, ChatGPT, gave their 19-year-old son dangerous guidance that wound up leading to a fatal overdose. Scripps News business and tech correspondent Mara Barrett has been tracking this story. And Mara, you talked to the teen's family about why they say someone has to be held accountable.
And that's the big question, right, Del, that courts, people like you and me, are trying to understand and answer, because this isn't the first lawsuit involving a death tied to advice that's been allegedly sought from ChatGPT. This case in particular involves the 19-year-old Sam Nelson. His family says that their son turned to the chatbot for help mixing drugs, looking for safe options with drug experimentation. And ChatGPT told him allegedly that it was safe to combine substances that ultimately proved deadly.
I have to stop for a second. So ChatGPT gives you information just like a book, just like a magazine, just like an encyclopedia. I thought of encyclopedia when I watched it because I'm like, how do we used to get information? Did the book you read tell, or that you got the library researching, did it tell you? I hate the
Sometimes AI is not our friend.
Well, but I do a lot of stuff with AI and teach AI stuff. ChatGPT is not telling you. It's not telling you what to do.
No.
I would just
It's giving you information based on what it already has. So you can't blame the Chat GPT. It's simply answering the questions put forth to it. It can't do more than you tell it to.
And then mine gave me a really amazing. Oh, there's feedback.
It's Robin. Yeah, go ahead.
A really amazing. So I did have to remind it a couple of times that I'm not taking any prescribed medications or illicits, and I would name, the supplements that I take, ashwagandha off and on, the cat's claw, devil's claw, things like this. Anyway, it gave me, and then I told it 7-0 and I told it Kratom. It gave me this amazing breakdown of even break days, like what other supplement I could take in place of Kratom or 7-0 and all this. But it never told me to mix anything that would be harmful, and especially not, that way. So I found it to be an amazing tool. I would want to see the transcript of this young man's situation to be able to see where, how it could
exactly
something like that could, because it's too precise. It would have, if anything, mine has veered me away from other things that would be harmful and kept it safe. And of course, I included my main illnesses in that, which would be CRPS, narcolepsy, things of this sort. And so, yeah, I would need to see the transcript to believe how that could have happened.
Well, the thing is, an AI cannot tell you what to do. Just like if I came to you, Twinkle, for this information, and you told me, even if you told me to go do something, that doesn't mean I'm going to go do it. We have free will. So I don't know. That part of the story just really let's blame ChatGPT for this. That just
had a personal responsibility.
Yeah. And it'd be one thing if you're saying it was a minor. He was 19 years old. So he wasn't a minor, he was an adult. But still, I just have this issue, let's blame ChatGPT for this. And that's just going to open up all kinds of lawsuits. Could you imagine? It's like, why is it? But see, the other thing too is because it always points back to the low-hanging fruit. Just like how Kratom is always lawsuits all the time. My loved one died from Kratom. We're going to go sue the company, the store and the company that makes it, blah, blah, blah. Let's just, because it's the low-hanging fruit. But when alcohol kills your family member, are you suing the liquor company? Are you suing the convenience store that sold it?
The Beam.
So, all right, let me put this back on. I just didn't like this whole framing of this.
We had a lot of fun with Sam. He was the kid that everybody wants to have.
19-year-old Sam Nelson was known as smart, social, and deeply caring. His mom and stepdad say they knew he used ChatGPT for schoolwork, but only discovered how much he relied on the chatbot after they found him unconscious at home.
This never entered my mind as a danger for my child, that using a glorified search engine would end up giving him horrible, deadly medical advice.
In a wrongful death lawsuit, Layla Turner Scott and Angus Scott accused OpenAI of failing to protect users after ChatGPT allegedly advised Sam on how to combine drugs safely. According to the complaint, ChatGPT's 4.0 model, which is now no longer available, advised Sam to take Xanax to help combat nausea caused by taking Kratom, an herbal supplement with opioid-like effects. The lawsuit claims ChatGPT did not tell Sam that combination was likely lethal, advice his parents say led directly to his death. In a statement to Scripps News, OpenAI called this a heartbreaking situation, noting the version of ChatGPT Sam used is no longer available, and that ChatGPT is not a substitute for medical or mental health care. We continue to strengthen how it responds in sensitive situations with input from mental health experts.
As parents who've now lost a child, how frustrating is it to see the struggle to regulate, given how fast moving, how fast developing these types of products are?
It's incredibly frustrating. This appears to be pure profiteering. It's people's lives.
and they're treating it like a statistic. And that's disconcerting. This is something that can happen to anybody.
And earlier this year, OpenAI launched what they're calling ChatGPT Health. The company says that this was developed alongside physicians to help the hundreds of millions of people who seek health information on the platform every week. This is an effort, they say, for them to do this more safely while also protecting their privacy. But Sam's family says that this development is, quote, terrifying. They're warning that as more people turn to chatbots for medical guidance or for other uses, the fact that the platforms have this push for rapid innovation may be outpacing putting in the oversight needed to keep users safe. Del.
Mara, that is incredible. You've also covered several lawsuits like this. How are legal strategies against companies like OpenAI changing?
We're definitely seeing a plethora of strategies because this is a new territory, right? What's notable here is the big question is around testing where responsibility for AI harm begins and ends. Some lawsuits we've been tracking focus on product liability and negligence that argue that OpenAI released their tools without adequate safety guardrails. And that's the key argument in this specific wrongful death case, because they're saying that ChatGPT gave dangerous medical advice and then failed to warn the user of the risks. Meanwhile, we're seeing other lawsuits take a different approach, arguing that the chatbot crossed into areas like mental health counseling or specific medical practice without proper oversight. So essentially, the chatbot was acting like a professional expert when it doesn't have the license, and it's just not one. And then there are the cases involving violence or self-harm. Families are also testing whether AI companies can be held liable for failing to detect and intervene when users are showing those clear warning signs. And so taken together from all these different angles, these lawsuits could help define whether AI companies are treated like more neutral tech platforms or like specific product makers, which historically have a legal duty to protect users.
All right, there you go. So
are they saying that because he was nauseous that ChatGPT told him to take Xanax and that's what did it?
They didn't really go into details like the specifics on that, but apparently he was researching on ChatGPT with, I don't know, it said something about with Kratom and Xanax.
And if you're researching, you go further and research more, it's just, it doesn't make it, a little bit of common sense goes a long way here, I wouldn't. And for me, I mean, I take Appraisal Am and I take my Kratom and I don't have an issue. So I'd like to know what else.
Well, right. And quite a few people, on my TikTok, we're always getting people asking questions about, interactions with Kratom and other things. And I'll put it up so we can have discussion about it. Twinkle, can you mute? And
oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. And so like an example would be somebody will, usually say like in the comments something like, can I, and we're just being, everybody just sharing their personal experience. We're not giving medical advice, and grown adults know this. We're sharing personal experiences. People are curious. They have questions. And I always remind people we're all different. Somebody could have an interaction, but it's always nice to do your own research and then see how other people, what their experience is. And many times that can help us formulate, how we should move forward with something. I would rather hear firsthand experience from Kratom users with some of these things than just go by what ChatGPT says. So for instance, if somebody said, I'm being prescribed Xanax, can I take that with my Kratom? That's a very typical scenario, something like that. So I'll post that as a video and there'll be tons of comments. A lot of people will say, yeah, I do both, no problem. And some people would say, I don't need Xanax anymore. Kratom works way better. I don't even need to be on that. I only take Kratom. Some people say, yeah, I do both. I take both. All kinds of things. And it's like, then you take that information, just like you with your AI, and make your own judgment and decision. Last year, I had to take large amounts of Benadryl and a steroid for a period of time. And I was very concerned, like, oh, I haven't had to take that dose of that with Kratom before. I wonder. So I did some digging around because I knew those were questions that had come up in my TikToks in the past. So I found when those popped in, and I just read everybody's comments, and I'm going to form my own judgment off of that. It doesn't mean that, I'm reading this and going, oh, majority of people say this is fine, so I'm going to be fine. Well, that's on me if it's not fine, right? But I just felt better reading people's experiences, and then I'm the one that has to make the grown-up decision, just like when we started all using Kratom. I'm sure most of us will say, I sure was the first time a little nervous because you don't know it's that fear of the unknown. You don't know what to expect. I've talked to so many people after I started Kratom that see my videos and ask me questions, and they're just like how I was. You're a little nervous because you don't know what to expect. And then you take that leap of faith and you're like, wow, I'm so glad I tried this, right? But we're still making the grown-up decision. There's going to be somebody who tries natural Kratom and has some kind of bad reaction, whether they throw up or who knows. But if we're talking about minors, that's a whole different conversation. That's never what these are. They're always grown adults. So I'll get off my high horse again. It just gets me all riled up.
Understandable.
And it's like, let's blame ChatGPT. I'm not saying ChatGPT is a saint. I'm just saying, why is it always something that's a low-hanging fruit?
Maybe easier to blame something else versus accountability these days. I would be like, oh, does this interact with something? But just in general, myself, that just does not, I wouldn't want all of that together myself. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that, taking that together myself. So, or consult a doctor, that's technically
that's what you're supposed to do.
Consult a doctor.
Talk to your doctor. Well, when I start this live stream broadcast every week, this is what I read. I'll read it again for anybody that missed the beginning. A quick but important note before we dive in. This live stream is for educational purposes only. We're not medical professionals, and nothing shared here should be taken as medical advice. We're here to share personal experiences and advocate for responsible legal access to Kratom. And as always, do your own research. I say that every week because we're not medical professionals. We're here sharing our personal experience. And we've all been Kratom consumers a long time. And we have lots to share of how it works for us. It may not work for somebody watching this the same way we're describing. Just like when I say I can take 2 teaspoons of my natural Kratom powder every 6 hours, and I basically do not have a back hurting issue and a neck hurting issue that I had to live with for 20 years. Somebody I've had people say, I did what you say you did, and they don't get the same experience. They don't get the pain level coming way down. They get some relief, but not the relief I get. I can't explain that. We're all different. We're all human, and this plant affects everyone differently, just like every pharmaceutical out there is going to affect people differently. I was able to take very large doses of OxyContin for my pain. The average person would not be able to take even a quarter of what I was taking.
Can you imagine once this does get turned into a pharmaceutical, everybody, okay, one capsule, half gram. That's not going to work for me, that works for some people, but that's not going to work for a lot of people. So then we're going to have, again, the same problem. We're going to be looking for something else to help with pain. And right now I can't find anything that is even remotely comparable to take the pain away. Even just regular plain leaf, I have yet to find anything that has helped me the way that plain leaf Kratom and, all its alkaloids have helped me with. Like Twinkle said, she takes cat's claw, devil's claw. I take it all too. I've got a whole I've got 2, big cabinets here filled with botanicals of all sorts. Yep. And it does not matter. Kratom is that's my main, it's my main go-to.
Yeah. Yep. And you use what works best for you. And that's what we're all doing.
And sometimes what works for me one week isn't going to work another. We all know that, weather does play a role with how your body feels, stress, whether you're either, less active or more active than you were the week before, everything plays a role. So whatever dose I may have taken last week that was, hey, this is really working for me good, just isn't doing it for me, this week, and I'll switch, just switch it up. I'm constantly rotating, product
Me
vendors.
too.
I don't just strictly, go with, the company that I work with. I go through quite a few, responsibly trusted vendors, for leaf. And, that's just what I've done. You just got to keep a variety on hand anyways. I mean, that's how I look at it. That's my new collection. I don't do shoes and clothes and handbags. I got botanicals.
I love it. I've learned so much about botanicals just being in the Kratom community. I've learned so much. I've been taking ashwagandha every night for months now. I love it. I have a link on here. So because people are always curious what different Kratom vendors I get mine from, and I rotate as well. Basically, every 6 hours when I dose my Kratom, I just do a different vendor, and so I have like just my whole group of them, and they're all on, I did all my research over the years, and I have my list, and the only companies that I will buy Kratom from, that I will consume, they have to be companies that educate and advocate for the plant, and I'm very big on that. So all the ones that are on my list, these are companies that a lot of them I've had on my Kratom Stories podcast. I've gotten to know a lot of them through my diligence and research. Like I know a lot of people, they just go to the smoke shop and buy it off the shelf, or they just, hear about it from someone and go online and buy it. And that's fine. Do you? I did a lot of research, and I've had people say, you got to try this brand. So I'm not going to just go try anything until I go check out their website and do some digging and, do my own high level of research that makes me comfortable to want to ingest something when you gotta trust anything we put in our bodies. We gotta trust where it's coming from. That's not just our plants and it's our, even pharmaceuticals you get, there's a lot of counterfeit stuff out now.
Mm-hmm.
Scary when you hear
there's
about
a lot.
that.
We're dealing with it out here in New Hampshire. We're finding a lot of pressed pills right now are having the fentanyl, the xylazine. There's another one that starts with a C, and I know Robin knew that one. And then there's now another one that just came up. And of course, none of them are, but they're being pressed into pills, or like even people like, the black market, you can buy, anxiety meds just for say, or a pain med for say, but a lot of them are being laced now, and it's working in harm reduction. It's something that's just, it's sad to see. It's sad to see.
Yeah. That's when I am glad that when I had to go to the streets back then, it was people that I knew for the most part, or they knew somebody, and we knew what
you knew what you were getting, like, not to say like, oh, hey, drugs were better then, they were safer. You know what I'm saying? Like they weren't what it is now. Everything is so altered now to either create an addiction and or take you out, because it's fentanyl. And whatever else is out there. And that's just what you see people now with like fentanyl and all this other stuff is not what you saw, 25 years ago with people, using, illicit drugs. That you weren't seeing this type of behavior out on the streets at all.
Exactly. Man, the comments are on fire. Just trying to keep up with them all. Thank you for everybody that's here live. And if we got to do our word in the comments. So if you're watching the replay, this is for the people here live too, but our new thing is, if you're watching the replay, and we're at the 2 hour and 8 minute mark. So that means if you're watching the replay, you got all the way over here, which is amazing. And we appreciate the people live too. I just always find it incredible when people will stay for long shows like this. So what should be our word in the comment that so we know people are watching at this point? Anybody want to pick we've done Meng Da, we did green last week. Anybody have a
regulation?
That's a good one. We need more regulation in the industry for sure. So for those of you who are here live, put regulation in the comments so we know you're here with us. And for those that are watching the replay, put regulation in the comments. We'll see it. And we're just so thrilled to be, we're all doing this on our own free time. We're not being paid to be here and to do this. This was just a fun idea I came up with back in 2023 because I love live streaming. For those that don't know, I've been in digital marketing for the last 30 years, been teaching social media for 20 years. I love live streaming. This is such a great way to connect with people. I've been building online communities since the mid-90s. So being a very passionate Kratom consumer that wants to educate others, I thought it'd be fun to start a live stream where we can, because I'd be watching these news stories, like yelling at my laptop going, what's wrong with this? I mean, this stuff would just drive me nuts. It's better to do this as a group. You know, it's like group therapy, right? I like that.
I definitely, I agree.
Yeah, it definitely is super helpful.
It's our weekly therapy. That's what we should start calling this, the therapy, the Kratom Gals therapy session. So everybody's putting regulation in the comments. That's so awesome. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us and being part of the discussion. We appreciate those that are here live, and those of you watching the replay, we'll see your comment when you post that. And yeah, thank you, Pam, for watching. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Oh, I wanted to ask you too about Ohio. I don't think we mentioned Ohio with what they put out about how they have pictures of a scoop of just plain leaf kratom, and that's what's legal, just the plain leaf. But they have pictures of everything with the packaging and the regulations that have already been put through that is what should be done. And they're saying that they can't use, if you see those packages, that's illegal. But yet if it's just plain leaf, then you're okay. It's just really confusing. It makes no sense to me.
It's very confusing. I don't know all the details, but I've seen some talk about it. It does sound very, very confusing. Thank you for everybody popping in, letting us know you're here. Thank you, Nicole. I know not everybody's active in the chat, but if you're not active in the chat, we don't even know you're here. So thank you to those that are just letting us know you're here. We appreciate that. Well, I think it's time to wrap up. Usually by the 2-hour mark, my headphones are starting to hurt my ears and bothering the crap out of me. It's like, but because of Kratom, I can sit in this chair for several hours and do this. Like if I was still in pain management, I would not be able to sit this long at all.
And because of my blessings, I got to show you real quick on the part of chronic pain. I just got these in the mail. I might break a leg, but I'm going to go for it because you only live once. They're Crocs, but they've got some platform on them. And I just really want to try. I've not been able to do anything like this for 25 years. It's either, you know, the flats or my moccasins or barefoot. And I just really want to try. And so that's my Mother's Day. And so I don't know when I'm going to try them, but they're just a different style Croc. And so please let this work for me. Pain relief enough to work for me.
I hope that works for you.
Thank you.
Lori, great to see you in the comments. We haven't seen you in a while. Always great having you here. Robin says, Angela has all the Ohio stuff sorted and you can reach out to BAE for any questions. So that's their group. Let me pull up the link real quick. If anybody wants to get information through them, go to botanicalae.org. Their organization is called Botanical Advocacy and Education. And just if people have been getting this misinformation, I've gotten to know Robin, known her for quite a while, and the other ladies at BAE. I never hear them asking for donations and trying to steal away people. They are a grassroots Kratom community organization. So we can use all the help we can get when it comes to grassroots advocacy. So you can get lots of information on their website. If they were always trying to get you to donate to them instead of another advocacy group, you think you would be hearing that, but I've
never heard of it.
Robin, I've never heard any of them say that. And Robin's never brought that up here. So, you know, sometimes do your research on these sources of information, because it's like, what? Where is that coming from? Boy, y'all are having quite the discussion in the live chat about Coke. But we do need to wrap up. Yeah, they're going to put up some information on Ohio, an update on their website, they said. So, and best wishes on, Bestie says best wishes on the new shoes.
I just hope, hope. Want to try them so bad, but you know, they've got the lift, and I have the internal worry because my feet have broke so many times and sprained, but that's just it. We only live once. So if I got to have a good day and something happened, I still got to have the good day. So that's what I'm praying for. Thank you. Thank you.
That's awesome. I love our community. We're all just so
Me
supportive
too.
of each other.
Me too.
You know?
I appreciate it. Mm-hmm.
I think today, to end the show for our song, we need more Kratom songs. There's only like a handful of them. It'd be nice if there was more. But
we got to get Chris's list.
Well, yeah, I mean, he had his on YouTube, but then YouTube took them down. But I think he has them on SoundCloud. I don't know if I can. I have to see how I can pull that up on here. But I think today, since we're all fired up, we should play "You Can't Ban My Roots." This is like the perfect song and we miss Becca. She's on a break from the weekly show, and I always love watching her dance in her seat at the end with the song. So yeah, I wish she was here for that, because that's always my favorite part at the end when she does that. Anyway, y'all have a great rest of your Saturday, great weekend, and we'll be back here next Saturday to do this again. We're here every nothing's going to deter us from hanging out, having our therapy session, talking about all the things that we're seeing about Kratom, good, bad, and ugly. Always a great time.
Thank you, everyone.
Yep. And thank you to our special guests. Earlier, we had Deb Chesney here from Tennessee sharing her thoughts. If anybody got here late, watch the replay. As soon as this is over, you can watch the replay here on YouTube. And got to hear, her thoughts living in Tennessee, where they passed a ban, criminalization and ban of Kratom.
Praying for everyone.
Yeah. All right, y'all. See ya soon. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
You can't ban my truth. Nah, 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 nah. Hey, Florida, we see the game. HB 1489. Not today. Natural leaf, ancient tree, now they wanna make it a felony. Nah, we ain't playing that corporate tune. Kratom's the voice of 1,000 moons. From the fields to the streets to the healing hands, you can't kill what the earth commands. They assess certification, regulation, tricks. Just another play to make the people sick. They write the rules, we break the chains. Your lobby games won't own our brains. One voice, one fight, we rise tonight. You can't ban my roots. I'm a child of the storm. I was born to be free. I ain't bending no more. You can't break my truth. You can write your lies, but the people rise. No 1489. Mail orders ban, remote sales cut. Who's that help? Big Pharma's gut. They don't want plants, they want pills. They don't want cures, they want bills. But guess what? We ain't that dumb. We'll shout this message till the war is won. Kratom's our anthem, Kratom's our right. HB 1489, we fight tonight. They write the rules, we break the chains. Your lobby games won't own our brains. One voice, one fight, we rise tonight. You can't ban my roots. I'm a child of the storm. I was born to be free. I ain't bending no more. You can't break my truth. You can write your lies, but the people rise. No 1489. You can't outlaw the trees. You can't outlaw the breeze. You can't outlaw the dreams. We are Kratom. We are free. You can't ban my roots. I'm a child of the storm. I was born to be free. I ain't bending no more. speak my truth. You can write your life.